This is More Knowledge, More Wealth with your host, Gabriel Shahin. Gabriel is a certified financial planner and a registered investment advisor at Falcon Wealth Planning. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this broadcast and does not represent that the services or securities discussed are suitable for any investor. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the broadcast in the process of making a full informed investment decision. Now here's your host, Gabriel Shahin.
Good day, this is Gabriel Shahin, certified financial planner and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend talking about all important topics of personal finance. My job is to go over the knowledge you need to increase your wealth. Now, to the listener, you can always reach out to myself or any one of my colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird, or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can get this episodes or any one of our previous episodes through podcasts, Spotify, and our Knowledge Center, which is on YouTube, that has so many fantastic strategies that you can take advantage of. Now, I'm the president of Falcon Wealth Planning. We are fee-only, non-commissioned, true fiduciary folks, and we help everybody that any questions that you may have, whether where you are today, how retirement looks like, investments, estate planning, taxes, insurance, folks, you name it, anything that involves that dollar sign, we can help you with. And we're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost, folks. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird, where we can help answer those questions because we have offices all over. We can help you. Doesn't matter where you are in the country. Our offices and headquarters are in Southern California, but we have offices in the Midwest, in the Northeast, Northwest, and so on. So we'd love to help you out. Now, folks, we are going to talk a little bit today about some of the top 10 best exercises, retirement planning exercises that you can do to make sure you are on track. We have a fantastic new webinar that's coming out. We're planning to do that this upcoming week. And so we're trying to find a good date to do that. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. We want to see how many people that are joining it. I know we have a couple companies that are doing it. We're expecting over 100 people. So if you are interested, please reach out to radio@falconwp.com. All right, so we're going to go over some of the 10 best retirement planning exercises that you guys can be doing. And so the first one, and here's the thing, like, first off, obviously you want to see if you're on track. I say it all the time, right? See where you are today. Take a look at how retirement looks like. Talking about taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning. Like, I get it, right? So, but the idea is how does it relate to you and what you should be doing to feel comfortable, secure, with or without an advisor, right? Listen, I feel everybody should have a financial plan. That's a financial planner saying that. Now, if you disagree, I think you should agree that everybody should have a financial plan, but maybe not a financial planner, right? Depending on the complexity of your situation, maybe not. Maybe you could do it on your own. But I think saying that everybody should have a financial planner and a financial plan, listen, there could be some truth to that, but I'm going to go over some of the 10 exercises to make sure that you are on track. And I think the first one is, so number one is, are you on track for retirement? Now, okay, I get it. Great, Gabriel. Thank you for nothing. That's easy. Now, the first thing that you have to look at is all your income streams is coming in. So now we're going to talk about the exercise. So whether you have Social Security, pension, rental, whatever the case is, all right, let's just say you have $80,000 of income coming in and you have expenses or your spend $120,000 a year. That means you have a $40,000 a year deficit. Now, typically the withdrawal rate you want to stay between is 3 to 4%. Now, if you're going to retire in your late 50s, maybe it's closer to 3%. If you're going to retire in your 70s, early 70s or late 60s, maybe it's 4%. Let's say it's right in the middle. You want to retire at 65, maybe because you get Social Security and healthcare at that point with Medicare. So at a 3.5% withdrawal rate. And by the way, keep in mind, that's being able to sustain your income long term. It doesn't mean it's sitting in the bank earning, 3-4%, that you're investing it. So net of taxes, that means if you divide that 40,000 by 3.5%, you will need almost $1.15 million for retirement. That's how you know if you have enough. I think it's crucial to understand that. Just a simple exercise to see if you are on track. So that is the first exercise that you should be doing. And what I'll be doing is going over the first 5 of them this week, by the way. I think I'm just taking a look at how much time that we have. I'm going to go over the first 5 this week and the remaining 5 next week. Now, the next item is understanding your longevity, just how much and how long you'll be living. Because here's the thing, just the reality sets in of where people think their money's coming from. People think like they get multiple streams of income. People think, well, 42% of my retirement or my money in retirement will come from my retirement plans at work. 1/3 of people say it'll come from Social Security. 25% say it'll come from other personal savings and investments. Traditional pension plans, about 1/3 of people. Part-time work, about over 20%. And then IRAs, almost 30%. Now, if you notice, all that adds over 100%. I get that. That's not the idea. The idea is people think they're going to get multiple streams of income from multiple different sources. I get it. Here's the thing, though. The reality of this, and when you take a look, this is from the Retirement Confidence Survey through Employee Benefits. The reality is people don't get 42% of their money in retirement from the retirement plans at work. It's more like 20%. And Social Security actually covers about 70%, not 1/3 of the income, because people just aren't as good savers as they think. And instead of 25% in other personal savings and investments, it's more like 16%. Traditional pensions, 35% versus 31%, which means people actually are getting more than they thought. And part-time work, 7% is the reality versus 21% being what they thought they would. Why? People just don't want to work in retirement. And then lastly, IRAs, where it's more like 13% is the reality versus 27%. People are just not saving as much as they thought. So how does this play into longevity? Well, probably should start savings. Why? Because 1941, the life expectancy for somebody who was born in 1941 was 62 years old. And if they were 40 at the time in 1941, it was 70. Well, now it's 85. The 55-year-old in 1941 was expected to live till 72. Now it's 87. 70-year-old in 1941 was expected to live till 79. Now it's 88. And so on and so forth. People are living a lot longer. And actually, there's this fantastic article in Times. It's a book actually published, or a title cover, February of 2015. This beautiful baby, for those who are on the webinar, you can maybe see it here. This beautiful baby on the cover says, this baby could live to 142 years old. I know what you're thinking, not me. Well, there's a lot of research out there that shows, and academic journals, medical journals. I mean, think about just the medicine, the technology, the procedures, the medication, the bioinformatics that are out there. That is going to be there in 10 years from now. You're still in great health. You might be in better health today than you were 10 years ago. How much more we have learned. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, certified financial planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend talking about all important topics of personal finance. And I just wanted to cover just the simple topics of you and your retirement planning and the exercises you can be doing. And I think that just the first one, obviously, is understanding where you are. And number 2, is just understanding that it's not like how it used to be, where you retire at 60, 65 and die at 65, 70. There are a lot of people out there that I've seen more in the past probably 6 months than I have in the previous 6 years, that their retirement is going to be longer than their working career. Think about it. They started working at 20. They retire at 60. That's 40 years. And their expectancy is maybe they're feeling in their hundreds. Listen, the thing that was supposed to kill them at 85, God knows what type of cure or medication or treatment that would be available for them by the time they get there. In 25 years from now, look at how it was 25 years ago. Did you see a lot of 85-year-olds driving back then? So longevity is everything. Why is that important? Because of your assets. Got to make sure your assets are there. You got to make sure that you planning to bounce the last check to the mortuary, which I get it. That'd be a fantastic plan. But the reality is you factoring to die at 85 may not happen. Folks, if what I'm saying sounds like can relate to you, sounds like you want to spot check to see where you are, to see if you're on track, to see if you can make a plan where you do bounce that last check to the mortuary or at least buy 100 or whatever the case is. I'm just saying you need to analyze it. Give us a call. We're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost, folks. We would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird, where we can put an assessment together that can answer those questions that you have. My simple comment to you is, and really to everybody, is that you need to plan on consistent living, continuous living. Because this article that said this baby is going to live to 142 years old can be real. You look at life expectancies just 120 years ago, it was in the 40s. 100 years go by, it's over double. So I'm just saying, don't plan on an early death, because you're probably going to be in better shape in 5 years from now than you are today. And some of you are already in better shape today than you were 10 years ago. So let's do this. We're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss understanding inflation. Okay. We're going to go over how this is important for you, because keep in mind, we're in inflation periods where this past last year was 6.5%. 2021 was 7%. 2020 was 8.5%, right? I mean, so we're in a period of inflation. I'm going to go over some numbers with you discussing on where inflation was in regards to postage, college, and cars here when we come back after a few words. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth. That's on every weekend. We're going over all important topics of personal finance. We're going over retirement planning, making sure you're prepared for retirement, Social Security and strategies, real estate, taxes, avoiding them now and in the future, investments, reducing fees, commissions, and so on, insurance, and estate planning. Folks, we are offering a free financial assessment that you could take advantage of. We have offices all across Southern California, including the Inland Empire. Give us a call to take advantage. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird, or visit our website, falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short. Enjoy the show. We look forward to serving you. Welcome back, folks. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth, here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today I thought we'd go over, now it's a two-step show here, right? There's just not enough time in this show. Allocated about 30 minutes. With commercials, it comes out to about 25 minutes. And so to discuss the top 10 best exercises for retirement planning, we already went over 2.5, we'll call it. The first one is, are you on track for retirement? And we discussed strategies and exercises you can do to see if you are there. Understanding longevity. And then this next one is understanding inflation. We talked about how prices go up over time. If you retire today and you're spending $10,000 a month, God bless you. Well, you can't expect to spend $10,000 a month over the next 30 years, because that $10,000 a month gets eroded over time. That $10,000 might be worth $5,000. You can only buy $5,000 worth of goods in 20 years from now, assuming a 3.5% inflation. So what does that mean in context? Now, some of you, this will remember. Now, look at myself. Somebody will say 40 years old. Okay, we're talking about Gabriel here. First house I bought was in 2004. Okay. In Arizona. My mortgage payment was $1,100 a month. My current car payment is more than my first house payment. Crazy. And listen, I'm driving just a normal Tesla SUV here. Like, I'm not driving anything crazy. I'm not driving a Range Rover or an Escalade or anything like that. So it's crazy to think even somebody that's 40 could relate to this, assuming you bought your house in your early 20s, which I was fortunate enough to do. Working hard, I got scholarships. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I worked at a company that did tuition reimbursement, plus I got scholarships from the school, and plus I worked, right? So it's not all bad. People are saying, well, these people are getting forgivable loans and I had to work. Well, I didn't do a fraternity, right? Couldn't afford it. I had to work. So I didn't have much of a social life, but hey, I bought my first house at 21. Get what I'm saying? So, but anyway, let's continue the conversation. So let's talk about now how this relates to you and understanding inflation, because we know we feel inflation, right? I did an episode a few weeks back discussing how that just the cost of candy from Halloween was up 15% year over year. Now, let's talk about postage, currently 63 cents, by the way. In 1970, it was 6 cents. Some of you remember that. In 1985, 22 cents. Today, 63 cents. In 15 years, anticipated 1.28%, or $1.28. Crazy, right? This is postage. $1.28 just to mail a bill. Crazy. Let's talk about college, 1970, $1,200. Okay, now let me read the disclosure here, okay? The disclosure says that 1 year of in-state tuition, fees, room, and board for a public 4-year, okay? This is from Trends in College Pricing, okay, from the College Board. That's the reference here. So, like, for example, today's number, I don't know if I fully agree with, but whatever. 1970, $1,200 a year for room, board, and tuition. In 1985, $3,372. Now, I'm going to disclose, when I graduated college in 2006 from Arizona State University, my freshman year, I graduated in 3 years. My freshman year was $2,200. The last year was $3,500. That was just in 3 years, it went up 50%. Yet again, from 2003 to 2006. So keep in mind, I lived at home. Like I was saying, I didn't get the luxury because I had to do it on my own here. Today, they're saying that it's over almost $24,000, $23,770. Now, maybe a school does charge $10,000, and then maybe room and board is $1,000 a month. Maybe that's where they're coming at. Maybe it's for 10 months, whatever the case is. Point is in 15 years from now, it's anticipated to be almost $57,000. Inflation is real, folks. Cars, this is my favorite one. 1970, $3,400. 1985, almost $12,000. Today, almost $47,000. That's from TrueCar.com as a reference. In 15 years, average car price was $114,000. 114. Crazy. In 15 years from now, the average car, we're not talking anything crazy here. I mean, it's funny when I did this, I used to do this in part of a class I taught, let's say 10 years ago. Average price of a car, they were saying, was about $30,000, which is true. I had a 2014, which I bought in 2013, a Toyota Prius. Drove it around. I used to drive a lot. Okay, don't judge. Drive a nicer car than that, right? It's not how you start. It's how you finish. The point is, of course, is it's funny how accurate this is. So the full impact of inflation. Today, $1 in 10 years is only worth 75 cents. In 20 years, only 55 cents. In 30 years, 41 cents. Let's reverse engineer that. Today, $1 in 10 years, you'll need $1.35 to buy the same thing that's currently $1. In 20 years, $1.82. 30 years, $2.46. You know what's proof of this? The dollar menu at McDonald's. The dollar store is now $1.25. You get what I'm saying? I mean, these are the things that people just don't factor when they're looking into retirement. This is to see if you're on track. This shows you can't just have your money and have it sit there earning 0. nothing, or even 3 to 4%, or even 5%. You need to keep up with inflation. As Warren Buffett calls inflation, the silent tax. Let's continue the conversation. You know what? So we've now done 3 of them. The fourth one is understanding use of debt. Okay, that's the fourth one. And by the way, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend, talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we're just going over the top 10 retirement planning exercises that you should be doing. We built a very successful career helping thousands of clients and 10,000s of prospects that's come through the door of people wanting help. And if you look at, we have over 200 Google reviews amongst all our locations, 5 stars. Why? Because we help people. And we've only started that initiative in the past year. I wish it would have, how cool would it be to have thousands of 5-star reviews? So the idea is we're sharing with you what we share with them. Now, if you want this customized for you, if you want us to relate this show to your specific situation, give us a buzz. We'd love to help. Obviously, I just said we have multiple advisors. We can help. We just had 2 new CFPs that passed in our associate planning, in our planning department. And so we would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2999. 2526. That's 855-96 Falcon, where we'll give you 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost, folks. We'd love to help. That brings us to almost 20 CFPs in our organization. Almost half our staff, 40% of our staff. So understanding use of debt. Obviously, there's bad debt, folks, right? Don't go getting a boat loan or putting a vacation on a credit card and paying 20% on credit card debt. That makes no sense. Why would you do that? Okay, well, we're smart enough to know that, right? If you're listening about a show about finance, you're probably doing all right. You probably have some interest in finance. But there is necessary debt. And I'll tell you this, car loans at 0%, especially in an environment like this where you can take that money, that cash you're going to put on the car and put it in a 5% savings account. Like, seriously? Why would you pay it off? You make no sense. How about this? I'll pay it off on your behalf. I'll take your money. I'll put in 5%. I'll make the payments for you. And it builds your credit. Like, seriously? And what if you, God forbid, totaled it in the first month? Well, with gap insurance, your car insurance, don't buy it through the dealership. That's normally $300 to $400. Your car company will do it for $1 a month. It's protection on top of that. Like, seriously? Come on, guys. But the mortgage, even now, mortgages make sense. Let me give you an example that I've used for years, almost decades. But let's just say you have a $500,000 mortgage at a 4% for a 30-year mortgage. That's almost $2,400 a month. Now, some people are like, well, I don't want to do that. How about I just pay an extra $1,200 a month, 50% more, get a $3,600 payment for a 15-year mortgage. Instead of paying 4%, I pay 3.5%, right? Because a 15-year mortgage has a better rate. Well, here's my point of why I don't like that. Instead of doing a 15-year, still do the 30. And if you really want to pay it off faster, which I can argue with doesn't make sense, especially at a 3.5% rate or 4% rate, right? Because now they're 7.5, maybe 8. So now you treat your 30-year like a 15. Add that extra $1,000 a month. You doing that will not pay it off in 180 months. It can't. Why? Because it's a higher interest rate. But you're not going to pay it off in 360 months because you're paying more towards your principal. You're going to pay it off in 189 months. You only lose 9 months. What's my point? Debt is good. Plus, you get a tax write-off for it. Plus, that extra money you were going towards paying your mortgage, you can put it into a retirement account, which, oh, by the way, could be another tax benefit. And oh, by the way, most likely, historically speaking, you could earn more than a 4% rate of return over the next 30 years. Plus, remember that 4% is a write-off. And you have 30 years of flexibility. I've seen multiple people do a 15-year. And then what happens? They have troubles at work. And now they get laid off. And now they still have to make that high payment. You can't just go to the bank and say, you know what? Make it a 30. You have to refinance, requalify. It's a sad business. Gives you 30 years of flexibility. All to just lose 9 months? Not a big deal. You could still write it off and you can always refinance. And home appreciates with or without a mortgage. Now, here's the thing, guys. I gave you an example back then. Let's do the new example. This same $500,000 mortgage at 36 months or 30 years, which is 360 months, is now 7.5%, which means your payments are $3,500 a month. If you did a 15-year, you won't get 7.5%, but 7%, right? Save 0.5%. So now your mortgage payments are $4,500 a month. You're paying an extra $1,000 a month. Okay. Now, if you just took that extra $1,000 and put it on your 30-year mortgage, you won't pay it off in 180 months. Pay it off 191 months. Only lose 11 months, not even a year. But what did you do? Yet again, you gave yourself 30 years of flexibility. Folks, we got a last one here. Just want to talk about compound growth and interest. You don't need me to tell you this. You just keep on saving. It will grow. I'll give you an example here. Now, if a 30-year-old's listening to the show, they have 35 years until retirement. If they currently have $10,000 and save $7,500, that's almost $600 a month. Over the next 35 years, they're going to end with $1.5 million. Let's say you're 40 years old with 25 years to go to retirement. You have $100,000. You save $10,000 a year, almost $1,000 a month. You will have $1.4 million. If you have 15 years until retirement, assuming you're 50 and have $250,000 and you save a little over $1,000 a month, you will have $1.2 million. What's my point? Compound growth, baby. Continue to save. You may think when I said earlier you need 1.1, 1.2 million for retirement. Remember I made that comment? You're thinking to yourself, oh my God, there's no way I'm on track. Well, because you only have $250,000. But guess what? I assumed everything at an 8% growth rate and saving $12,500 a year for you 50-year-olds out there listening, which means planning is everything, folks. So depending on where you are, you know the goal, right? you need help with that, give us a call. We would love to do it. We do this every single day. I'm trying to articulate this to you in the simplest way possible. If you need help, you want us to relate this show to your situation, give us a buzz. Our phone number is 855-963-2526, or go to our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's Falcon, WP.com for short. Folks, that was a fast show. And thank you for tuning in with us this weekend. We went over the first 5 of the top 10 retirement planning exercises that you could do. Then next week, we're going to go over, after Thanksgiving, we're going to go over the next 5, 6 through 10 of the 5 exercises you could do for retirement planning. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, and God bless.